with us. This is financial markets, and we focus on East Africa, but also other global stocks, as well as other stocks around the continent. And Africa is one of the continents with the fastest growing economies, but also as well the fastest growing exchanges. Now, let's first have a look at the Malawi Stock Exchange. It's something we haven't little look at in a while. Now, Malawi Stock Exchange is the stock exchange of Malawi, based on the commercial and industrial capital of Blantyre. The exchange is licensed under the Financial Services Act 2010 and operates under the Securities Act 2010 and the Companies Act 2013. The Malawi Stock Exchange began its equity trade activities in November 1996 upon the listing the country's largest insurance firm, the National Insurance Company. Since then, the Malawi Stock Exchange has provided an efficient marketplace for the buyers and sellers of securities, and of course by closely supervising trading activities and conduct of member firms. The Malawi Stock Exchange also runs two other market platforms, namely the alternative capital market to raise capital for small and medium companies at low cost, and the debt market that accounting for some of the other companies. It currently has 16 listed companies. These 16 include the Airtel Malawi PLC and the Blantyre Hotels Limited, the FDH Bank, FMB Capital Holdings, and Icon Properties, the Ilovo Sugar Limited, Malawi Property Investment Company, the National Bank of Malawi, NBS Bank Limited, the National Insurance Company, also here on the Uganda Security Exchange, the National Investment Trust Limited, Old Mutual Limited, Press Corporation Limited, and Standard Bank Malawi, Sunbird Tourism Limited, and Telecom Networks Malawi Limited. And of course, these are some of the equities that are growing, the exchanges that are just coming up and growing with time. At the end of the day's trading yesterday, at the Malawi Stock Exchange, a total of 1,000,137 shares was traded, corresponding to a market value of about 15,920 shillings, and of course these were traded on the market yesterday. Compared with the previous Malawi Stock Exchange trading day, there was a day's improvement of 120% in volume and 8% decline in turnover. The current market capitalization of the market is about 2.69 Malawi shillings there. The aggregate performance of only two Malawi Stock Exchange listed equities participated in trading, and they ended with one loser, namely FDH Bank, with a 0.07% price depreciation, and Telecom Networks Malawi and FDH Bank recorded the highest volumes of about 1.075 and million and 62,000 respectively. That is the exchange in Malawi there. Just briefly looking at some of the growing stocks in Africa. Malawi is one of them, and of course has been there for quite some time in Malawi and doing some exchanges, with other exchanges as well, with cross-listed companies here and there. With only listed equities, still growing market, but promising one as well. And of course, you can as well invest in some of these exchanges, because the more you diversify your investment, the safer you are, the more you diversify your risk, and definitely the more returns you get in case these companies make money. That is why it's important for you to know what's happening elsewhere on the market, so you don't have to stick to one market as well, or even two or even three. The more markets you invest in, the better. your returns and the lower your risk. Let's have a look now at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And definitely the Nigerian Stock Exchange is a leading integrated market infrastructure in Africa, servicing the continent's largest economy, that is Nigeria. The exchange provides capital access to companies seeking to take advantage of financial markets to fund their business expansion. Likewise, the Nigerian Stock Exchange provides its pool of domestic, regional, and international investors with an array of regulated securities in order to achieve their investment objectives. And of course, in March 2021, the erstwhile stock exchange was demutualized from a member-owned non-for-profit entity into a owned profit-making entity called the Nigerian Exchange Group Public Limited Company. The Stock Exchange publishes the benchmark value-weighted all-share index formulated in January 1984 with the best value of 100 points. The all-share index tracks the general movement of all listed equities on the exchange, including those listed on the growth board, regardless of capitalization. Additional indices are the NGX 30 and the NGX 50, which respectively track the top 30 and top 50 companies in the exchange. And of course, both indices in which only fully paid common shares are admitted to adjust by adjustment of the market capitalization. That is the number of companies listed shares multiplied by the closing price and multiplied by the capping factor. Now, looking at their index, it looks quite beautiful. When we look at this graph here, the Nigerian Stock Exchange All-Share Index, unlike all the other indices in Africa, is one of those indices that have maintained an upward trend. Looking back a year ago, in around August 2021, it was below the 40,000 mark. Yes, 40,000 point mark. And now looking at through December 2021, actually October 2021, it crossed the 40,000 mark. And in less than about 5 months, in February, before actually January 2022, it crossed the 45,000 mark. And then later on in April 2022, about 3 months, it crossed the 50,000 mark. And currently in June, it is above 50,000 points. Now, this is a market that is quite not very old compared to other markets like the Johannesburg Stock Exchange that has been there since the 1818s, that is the 19th century. Of course, started in 1887. But it's doing quite well. And definitely this comes in as a result of government's tight measures that are taken on liquidating by especially the foreign investors, making sure that during times of uncertainty like these, of inflation and steady price commodity rising, steady increase in prices of commodities, as well as Russian and Ukrainian wars, they have put tight measures on these foreign investors so that they don't liquidate and pull out of the market. That is how they have kept above the 50,000 mark. And definitely this has been one of the biggest exchanges in terms of value, in terms of turnover, in terms of market capitalization. And today they stand above 50,000, and as of the close of the market yesterday, they were still gaining more points, gaining by about 15.11 at 0.03% appreciation in the performance of the all-share index, which is the benchmark index for the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Now let's look at the details of the market as of yesterday. The Nigerian Stock Exchange maintains three categories of listings. Number one is the premium board, and then the elite group of companies that meet stringent corporate governance, market capitalization, and liquidity criteria. So one of their main categories, the premium board, includes only those companies that meet stringent corporate governance, capitalization, and liquidity criteria. So this only gets the big boys in the market who are able to maintain their governance up there, have a very wonderful capitalization and liquidity criterion. You don't just liquidate anyhow. Then they have a main board. After the premium board, they have a main board investment. The larger companies who are admitted to the boards based on profitability or market capitalization are enrolled to the main board. Now they have the second category for companies that they're just admitted based on their profitability. So when you reach a certain profitability, you have to list on main board. And of course, they have an alternative securities market, which is the smaller, higher growth businesses segment, where they give, of course, chance to growing businesses to list on the exchange. The listed equities below, of course, incorporate companies from all the primary stock market segments. And of course, we may not go into the details there of all the companies, but they have a total of about 156 companies that are listed on primary stock exchange. That is the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And at the end of the day's trading yesterday, the Nigerian Stock Exchange had a total of 123 million shares that were traded in about 4,213 deals, corresponding to a market value of about 3.8 billion billion nairas. That is the currency for the Nigerians out there. They traded yesterday up about 3.87 billion nairas just in a single day of trading. Compared with the previous Nigerian exchange trading day, that's Wednesday 29th, the data shows a 46% decline, in volume, a 12% improvement in turnover, and about 6% decline in the deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is about 27.9 trillion Nigerian nairas. So that's the market for you there. And in our day yesterday, about 107 companies or equities participated in trading, ending with about 20 gainers and 18 losers. The gainers were led by University Press, led the gainers at 9.79%, share price appreciation closing at 2.58 Nigerian nairas. He was followed by Mark Nichols at 9.73%, gaining there. And on the losing side, we had PZ Cousins and Nigeria, who came out last with an end of day depreciation of about 9.86%. And of course, regarding the performance of the Nigerian Stock Exchange market indices, the benchmark index, that is the Nigerian Stock Exchange All Share Index, inched up about 15.11 points. That is 0.03% points to close, a percent increase in points to close at 51,117.59 points, which is one of the stock markets actually with above the 50K, category. And that is the Nigerian Stock Exchange for you. Finally, like I said, don't restrain yourself from investing across the board. These are borderless markets. You don't have a Ugandan market for only Ugandans, a Kenyan market for only. It's across Africa. And of course, the African Securities Exchange Association started a project called the African Exchange Linkage Project, where they're looking at, kind of conglomerizing or putting together all the exchanges having one trading market, where all the exchanges in Africa have a one-stop center where investors across the globe, investors across Africa, access stocks wherever they are, whenever they can, whenever they want to, with just from one stop center. And they can trade across that center, across borders, without any limits. And I think it's a project that so far about 7 stock exchanges have been, enrolled. And some of those exchanges include West African exchanges, BRVM, that is the Bourse Regional de Val Mobilier. That is BRVM, which is a regional stock exchange of the member states of the West African Economic and Monetary Union, WAEMU. And the Egyptian exchange is one of the other exchanges that managed to join. And of course, we are looking also at the Nairobi Stock Exchange maybe joining soon, and other exchanges around Africa. And this will definitely be a springboard for the growth of the financial markets in Africa to levels that have not been seen before, because definitely giving chance to people to trade across borders is one of the key things to growth of stock markets and even all the other markets elsewhere in the world. And of course, we look at that for the future, seeing that as an opportunity for various businesses and various investors across Africa. Now, let's look at the Bourse Regional de Val Mobilier. This is a regional stock exchange of the West African Economic and Monetary Union, namely Benin, Burkina Faso, the Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Niger, Senegal, and Togo. The exchange is located in Abidjan, Guinea-Bissau, Niger, Senegal, Mali, and Togo. Now, the exchange also, was being both an economic and political institution, is governed by provisions of the OHADA Uniform Act relating to the commercial companies and economic interest groups. The operations of the Bourse are entirely digital, effectively making it a technical success story on the continent. And of course, dealing members therefore need not to be present on the premises of the central office in Abidjan, but can engage from workstations or in their offices via a dedicated satellite network. The Bourse Regional de Val Mobilier guarantees equal access to information regardless of the operator's location. Now, looking at their index, the BRVMCI index graph, it is also one of those graphs that has been on an upward trend of growth above 200 points. And since, of course, August, let's look at looking at last year. Last year, of course, most stocks were affected by the pandemic, as various companies, were not doing well, and this led to many investors pulling out of the market. But they were below the 175 mark, almost reaching the 150 mark. But they crossed the 175 in around September 2021, and by February 2022, they had already crossed the 200 mark. And right now, they're lingering between 200 and 300 points. That is based on their index performance, the BRVMCI index performance. Now, the BRVM, that is the Bourse Regional de Val, Bourse Regional Val de Mobilier, maintains 2 sections of their listings for stocks. And the primary difference between the 2 segments regards the market capitalization of listed companies. That is to say, a minimum of 500 million CFA francs for the first, and of course 200 million CFA francs for the second. Regardless, all listed companies are required to distribute to the public at least 20% of its capital. The list, of course, is long, and they have quite a number of companies. Between about 46 listings have been witnessed. Now, looking at the end of yesterday's trading session at the Bourse Regional de Val Mobilier exchange, a total of 1.5 million shares was traded, corresponding to a market value of about 400,000, 13 million francs were traded yesterday. Compared with the previous trading day, Wednesday, the data shows 4% improvement in volume, but a 55% decline in turnover. And the current market capitalization is about 6.25 trillion francs at the Bourse de Val. That is just a peep into the West African market. That market there, that of course unites West African countries like Benin, Burkina Faso, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire, and of course is one of the key exchanges that we have seen grow in Africa. And of course, integration is very important for the stock market. Look at the United States. Imagine the New York Stock Exchange was very independent, didn't allow exchange to, companies to list from maybe China, from other, companies with subsidiaries in Russia, where they have very many conflicts with Russia. It would be a very narrow, market. But because of the liberalization of the market, because of the association of the market with other exchanges, with companies across borders, it's the leading exchange in the world, the the New York Stock Exchange. Yes, so integration, I think, is really key, and stock markets in Africa should look at integration as one of their biggest goals if we are to grow our markets here. Now, finally, let's look at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange before we move on to our next segment. As we already mentioned, this is the oldest and largest exchange in Africa, and of course started in 1887. Now, it has quite a number of indices that monitor performance, but of course the J203 is the benchmark index, monitoring representing about 99% of the full market capitalization of all eligible equities listed on the main board of the exchange, which can be split into J200 to J202. Now, looking at the graphs here, it lost yesterday about 200. It shed off about 222 points. That's about 4% drop in points. So it was in the reds as of the close of yesterday. And looking at some of the trading summaries here on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange at the end of the day's trading session, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange had a total of about 349 million shares traded in about 382,000 deals, corresponding to a market value of about 29 billion rand that was traded yesterday. Compared with the previous Johannesburg Stock Exchange trading day, that is when the data shows about 64% improvement in volume, and the current market capitalization of the market is about 19.6 trillion rand. In aggregate, yesterday alone, about 347 Johannesburg Stock Exchange listed equities participated in trading, ending with 67 gainers and 249 losers. Wow, yeah, what a loss of the day. It didn't perform that well as of the market closure yesterday. These 426, only about 347 participated in trading, ending with 200 losers and only about 60 gainers. Not a very good outlook for the market, but of course it's the biggest exchange and things could change here and there. That was the stock market updates. Remember, you can always follow us on our Twitter handles. You can visit us as well at www.smart24.com for more information as regards the stock exchanges around Africa. The point here we want to drive home is you need to start investing in as many portfolios as possible and expand your portfolio of investment as much as possible, so as you can have some money, extra income coming in from different sheds of the entire place. So you look at the stock exchange, you look at the cryptocurrency, you look at the money market, you look at the debt markets, you try to diversify investment so that you don't have a lot of risk on your hands. We're going into a short break. When we return with the top stories. Did you know that the boss of MTN, Mr. Vim, actually has been replaced? More of that to come after the break.